Huzzah and welcome to Beyond the Gates, an Ohio Renaissance Fair production. On this show, you will hear from all your favorite members of Streetcast, vendors, and stage shows. We will hear wonderful stories from years past and find out who are the people who make the fair as magical as it is. So please, join us and enjoy Beyond the Gates. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Beyond the Gates, an Ohio Renaissance Fair podcast. This week, I'm joined by my good friend Laura. Laura, how are you doing today?
I'm good. Thanks, Lucas. How are you?
I'm good, good. I'm really glad I was able to get you on. Laura, how many years have you been a part of cast?
I tried out in 2021, and so this is my fifth year on cast.
What characters have you played?
Ooh, so I started out the year I auditioned, I wanted to be on court. So I started out as Lady Lennox, who is Margaret Tudor. That is the niece to Henry VIII. So technically, I played the cousin of the Queen. And then last year, I transitioned into the Village Guild, and so now I am Hannah Havoc. I am one of four Havoc sisters, and I play the innkeeper slash matchmaker slash village historian according to the Havocs. So I change all the history to make sure Havocs are always on the right side.
So the guilds you've been a part of have both been court and village.
hmm
What made you want to start in the court guild?
So I don't have any real theater background. So I didn't do any plays. I don't have any musical talents. And I really liked dressing up. So I thought, well, um, I've got the funds and I kind of just wanted to be a pretty fancy lady my first year. I also really liked the idea of a schedule since I hadn't really done anything like this before. Coming in and having a schedule on court, knowing where I needed to be, having a group of people around me that could help me learn improv and become comfortable in improv really appealed to me during tryouts when they were explaining what the guilds were. I wasn't quite comfortable with having free range like you do with a villager. So that's one of the reasons why I decided to kind of just, I was like, I'll start with court, we'll see how it is, and if it sticks, we'll see where we go. My first year, there were a lot of senior cast members that have been there for 9 years. So there had been uh, probably a bit of an aura, but I think we still played quite a bit. I remember Lady Oxford, the character they played at Oxford at the end of this season, my first year. It could have been the first or second. I mean, she jumped into the washerwoman well with her garb. Like we were having a lot of fun. We also get to play a lot with patrons as a group. So we get to bring them into group bits a lot, which is nice. Something I've noticed in Village, it's a lot of one-off single bits, like you have your own bit and that's what you do. But in Court, what's really great is you have like a supporting cast, right? So it could be whether you're playing some sort of improv bit across the lanes as people walk in between you, or you're pretending to be a guard, things like that. So I actually think court, um, if you join it, is a lot of fun. And I think over the last couple of years, we've gotten the rest of cast more involved in kind of participating with court, especially around progress. So when the queen is progressing, or at the pavilion where we can all kind of sit together and laugh and talk with patrons um, in a stationary area. So that's kind of nice. I think. Uh, you and Tracy, Lord and Lady Cumberland, are a great uh, like uh, rivalry husband and wife character set. I think you and I also, when we were on court, because I am as you will laugh, significantly older than you, or at least enough older. And you asked if that bit was okay, and I love it because also Lady Lennox is older than Lord Cumberland. So it was a pretty hilarious bit, to the point where I decided to try to get AI involved with my comebacks. So, I think that we do have fun on court. I think a lot of people don't see it because they don't always stop and interact with as much, except for portraits with Connie the Queen, right? Although I think we still do have a lot of fun with that, where we turn the camera around and take pictures of ourselves, and people find those later, or um, where we make goofy faces in those portraits when they're taking pictures. So I think they're smaller, more special bits, group bits, than they are anywhere else.
My outlook of court, as somebody who's remained on court for finishing up his fourth year on court, is that, yeah, to what you say, we have fun, but our fun is a different kind of fun. But when it comes to our interactions with people, it's a lot less of huge group activities,
Hmm.
more like one-on-one experiences, I would say, or smaller groups of us.
Yeah, I mean, I think so. I mean, I think you just because I think everybody has really good bits. I think you have a couple good ones, right? Where you might be walking down the street and you point down, you say his shoe is untied, and they look, and you're like, "Oh, I've got you," things like that, right? Or um, uh, Lady Essex does have a bit with the Queen a little bit, where she can kind of call her cousin versus your Majesty, or like, oh, your crow's feet. So there are little bits that patrons can become a part of, but they might not necessarily realize it. I think one of the things that is sort of hard is that in court, a lot of the job that we're doing is being um, this large posse for the Queen, and the Queen is walking, stopping, taking portraits. You're basically background dancers, right? And so as background dancers, people don't always see the bits we're doing. So sometimes they're hilarious to us, and sometimes people catch on to it. I think that the current court members have done a really great job of bringing patrons in to the joy and the bits to court, so court isn't so um, standoffish, or doesn't look that way. Untouchable, maybe, is a good way to put it. That they're approachable, especially when you guys are, um, you know, with Connie, with Queen. So, it's definitely changed in the 4 years, even in the 3 years that I was on it. It's morphed because we've gotten a lot of new, very talented cast members who want to be on court and really want to make that uh, stand out as a show versus just your visiting fancy people.
Uh, so, talked about your court experience.
Hmm.
What made you want to switch to Village?
Well, so really it is that I've become more comfortable um, as it with my improv. So now, after 3 years of improving and kind of being able to know people and be comfortable with more of the cast, right? So we have a cast of about 120 people. I would say 60 or 70 of them are pretty constant returners. So I felt at this point I would have a lot of support moving into Village. Also, when you are become a part of cast, you do start to develop, just like with any friend group, relationships with people. So a good friend of mine, Monica, who is also on cast, who I believe has been on your podcast, uh, she is Anna Havoc, or Anna Havoc. And, we started talking about a potential twin sister bit, running the inn. I could be the face of the inn because I still wanted to be sort of quote unquote fancy, so I'm gentry in Village. So I have cleaner garb. I'm not, down in the dirt. I'm a little bit of a higher ranking village member. But so we have this great like twin sister. She's she causes the chaos and I have to explain it away because I'm still um, not super, I'm comfortable with improv, but it also doesn't come naturally yet. So I went from court, which was a large group of supportive people, to a group of one or two havocs or people that I could trust to support me as I'm out there um, in village. And I really I enjoy it. There's more freedom, a little bit more freedom to so that it's not as scheduled, which is nice. Um, but it also scary because you have to find on cast, we have to find things to do. Like we can't just walk around and as if you were a patron and shop, right? We've got to entertain people. We've got to bring the magic. And so in Village, that is something that you have to work at.
So you talked for a little bit about your sister
Hmm.
Anna Havoc and
Hmm.
your own character. Could you explain the different families that make up
Oh
the
yeah.
village?
Yeah, so I don't know if anybody's talked about this, but we do have a whole history for the village of Willy-Nilly. There are the Greenhoes. The O'Greenhoes are our farmers. We've got the vegetable monger, we've got the baker, things like that. You've got the Havocs. The Havocs are more industrious, so they're innkeepers, beekeepers, midwives. We tout ourselves as the pirates of the village. So we're sort of the people that you can't prove that we have caused any havoc at all. There's no proof ever. Um, I think that, we just are a bit mischievous. Then we've got who else do we have here? We've got uh, oh, I don't even know we have four other families. I can think of the Gravediggers. We've got Taffeta. Who is she a part of? Do you remember all of them, Lucas?
There's a few that I remember.
We got the
The Gavels.
spoons, the gavels and the spoons. Oh yeah, so we've got the gavels, which are of course our law enforcement. We've got the spoons. So those are our cooks and all of that. Uh, who else do
The
we
Upsons.
have? Oh yeah. Do we have any Upsons?
Not this year, unfortunately.
Yeah, I was gonna say I don't think we have any Upsons this year. But also, we have grown our families. So as people come in or have their character idea. We've had new families join the village so that, our village always grows. But there is a whole history to the village um, about, how we came to be and, the rivalries that you have in the village, uh, the boot root. So, I mean, I think people don't realize, and I realize it's all internal. Have you read the history before, Lucas?
I have not. I have no
Oh,
idea what this boot route is that
okay.
you
So
speak of.
basically, there was a search for the boot route, and the search for the boot route actually um, opened up a whole new village. So basically, the O'Greenhoes got kicked out of the village searching for the boot route, and then we brought them back in. But yeah, there is. We all in the village, at least in the village guild, live by this history. And that's how we decide to interact with each other. And so it's really kind of funny. One of the bits that I have this year with the O'Greenhoes, so as a havoc causing a little bit of chaos, um, the O'Havocs and the O'Greenhoes have a bit of a rivalry. So when we're in parade or when I see some of the O'Greenhoes, I throw shredded lettuce at them because I have, shredded their vegetables and I'm kind of throwing it back to them. And, it's a bit that's agreed upon and we make it a big deal, right? And they act very offended um, but it's also really funny because the O'Greenhoes are sort of I say they are messier villagers, right? So they're okay kind of getting down in the dust and in the mud and getting kind of dirty. So, they might like get on the ground and like sweep all the lettuce up and make a big deal about it in the middle of the street, which is great for patrons. They are seeing an improv play for a minute or two. So, um, it's it's just a lot of fun playing with the other village families and having those pretend rivalries.
So why did you gravitate towards the Havoc family compared to the other families?
I think uh so to be honest with you, I feel like like in real life, I am pretty naive. Naive's not the right word. Sort of oblivious, right? Like I just think the best of everybody and I want everybody to get along. And so being at fair and being a havoc allows me to be o- only the almost like the opposite of me. So it allows me to kind of just get out of my head, right? Um, I can sort of just say and do things that I might not do in real life and try some things out and see if I'm comfortable. I think it also helps me sort of develop my own confidence in speaking up for things or even I think about it in with my husband. Like sometimes prior to me being in fair, he might say something in it that I would be very literal about, and I'd be like, "Oh, stop it!" And now he might say something, and I'm like, I will come back to him with a little bit more wit, a little bit more improv, and kind of play along, which I think being in Village has allowed me to do because I have to hone that talent in Village. So that and the fact that, to be fair, Monica and I um, spend a lot of time together. We are FC Cincinnati fans, so we go to FC Cincinnati games together, and you know, we have a friendship, so I feel really comfortable being vulnerable in the Havoc family, especially with her and Ellie and Liz around the other Havoc family crew. So that's why it was the only option. I mean, honestly, I didn't even think about any other family. I'm sort of fancy. Fancy's not the right word. So I'm middle gentry. So I have linen garb. It's all the same color. I've it's probably a little bit more put together than you might see um, the village or the vegetable monger. And the Havocs own the inn, so they have a job, so they would have more money technically, historically, to have better clothing. And Monica doesn't really want to be gentry, so that's why I became the face of the inn.
We just talked about your experience in Village and your experience in court now.
Mhm.
Do you see yourself coming back to court at any point, or going to another guild, or just sticking with Village?
I do think I'll come back to court. So in cast, there is an option once you've established yourself as a experienced cast member and you're reliable to come back as a volunteer. Um, eventually when I go volunteer, probably in about 3 years or so, I'll come back to court, cross my fingers as Lady Lennox. So, because it's easy, right? In court, you know where you're supposed to be. It's just if you're only there half time, you don't have to worry about letting anybody down. You kind of just show up, you progress with Connie, the queen, and you get pictures taken and you go home. So, yeah, I will. I don't think I'd ever do pirates or fae. I don't really have any desire. I don't think I have internally the skill and the talent that you need to be Fae. Um, I think that and a pirate is I don't know, I'm just not built to be a pirate in my mind.
What shows are you a part of?
So my primary show is Heart. Heart is really the the highway of festival, right? We are the unsung heroes that are helping sell joust tickets or rousting for the joust or even helping get ice places. We fill in gaps when, maybe people have called off or have time that they're not at fair, that we can come in and help parade with the queen or with knighting ceremonies. So we're kind of all over the places filling in all those gaps. But the one that I'm really excited about that has only come up the last 2 years is uh, myself and one of the pirates, Tyler, does manage people parking. So, which is newer. It's a newer program to the fair, much needed. But basically, we are out in front of the gate by about 10 a.m. and we are managing the lines. So we are moving people around, getting them so that they line up in line so everybody can get in as quickly as possible. Prior to this, it was a bit of a mob mentality, and everybody would kind of come down and sort of push their way in. And I think uh, because fair has become so popular over the last couple years post COVID, they really saw a necessity to have some structure in parking. And I mean, honestly, it's great. I get to go out there at the beginning of my day when I have the most energy. I have a captive audience that I can just entertain and talk to, and to be honest, tell what to do. And they think it's hilarious because I'm doing it in accent. Um, I think last weekend was Highland weekend, and I was telling the Highlanders how much more well behaved they were than the Vikings the weekend before, right? Or little things like that. And you get to talk to a ton of kids. And we have a group of about 8 to 10 volunteers that kind of go out and help hold signs and help keep the lines a little bit orderly. So, I think that I really love doing that because by the end of the day, you're exhausted. So, kind of being able to see close to 8,000 people in the first half hour of a day and just kind of talk through and have some fun um, is really great. And I think, it's really helped make that waiting in line because some people get there at 9:30 and the gate doesn't open till 10:30. So they're out there for an hour waiting before they can even start to move. And, having entertainers there makes it more enjoyable.
So we know how the start of your day looks
Mhm.
by spending time in the parking. What does an average rest of your day look like at fair?
Ooh, that's a great question. Um, so I usually spend about the first hour, like I said, out doing parking. And then I will come in and I will make my way from the front gate to around the joust. And I um, am personally pretty hyper attentive to things, so I really love just stopping and looking over people's shoulder as they're looking at a map and trying to help them decide how their day is going to go. So I will slowly make my way or meander um, kind of to the joust area. Usually this year I've been helping with joust sales, the ticket sales, the first joust. So I'll do that. And then from there, again, I will just I go and sit by the troll sometimes and tell stories about the troll that's in Whimsy Woods. I call him Jeff. I call him George. I tell stories to kids about how he came to the village, and they just think it's hilarious. And then I take pictures of usually families with George or Jeff or Jim or whatever they want to call him. Um, After that, I will kind of meander around the village and hang out for the dance, about 1:30 dance. And I usually try, I don't dance in the shows anymore. I used to on court. But I do try to get some of the kids that are kind of waiting around that want to dance or maybe are dancing to the dances. So we'll dance a little with kids and wait for them to help weave the maypole. So that's about 1:30. Uh, and then sometimes I'll go and help with feast, which is really serving the royal feast. If I'm not doing that, really, 99%, I just continuously walk around fair. I love to ask people where we're going or what we're doing. I may follow them or ask if I can come along. Um, or if there are a lot of kids around, we do some trades, right? So Cass is allowed to do trinket trading. So I may trade some trinkets for a smile or a spin or a rock. Or sometimes they give me some of their gifts that they've gotten from other trinket traders, which is really nice. By the end of the day, I've got some knighting ceremony, which I love because it's all kids. I don't have any kids, but I love children, so it's really nice to kind of bring those smiles to the faces. And sometimes they catch our queen off guard, and it's hilarious to see her laugh. So that's funny. Um, and then at the end of the day, I kind of sit out front again and wish everyone a safe drive home. Um, as they're leaving the park waiting for closing gate. And then as soon as closing gate is done, I am out because it is a long day.
What has been the biggest change at fair that you have seen?
Oh, that's a good question. Um, Externally, I think having Whimsy Woods, like something that patrons would notice is having Whimsy Woods, even though um, we've capped uh, entrances. I think even if we hadn't expanded Whimsy Woods and capped, I think the fair would be feel like it did in 2021 when you couldn't walk the streets. You just couldn't do it. And I think since we've capped and expanded, that has really allowed probably this almost the same amount of people we brought in 2021, but not feel um, so stifling. And it's super shady, which is nice. So a lot of people don't even realize it's still there.
Super shady is in the way that trees.
Yes, yes. But it is, there's a lot of shade back there. So being able to kind of go back there and have a picnic or sit. There's shows back there, bigger shows now, the Barbarians and the Wheel of Death, which is nice. So I think they're trying to showcase Whimsy Woods more. So externally, I think that's the biggest one. Internally, I think I've seen this year in particular a lot more s structure, move towards more internal structure. Um, for example, I think, we've got um, Aaron, who is now sort of our production manager, right? Like helping with things, and the people that need a little bit more authority now have it more formally, which I think is a good step towards having a little bit of a hierarchy so things can function better. I think prior to this, it was a little bit more like we all love to be here and we love all to do all these things and we want fair to be great. So we're just going to sort of hope everything works out. And I think we're seeing more of that structure come to internally, which I think is really nice to see.
So just a few more questions as we
Mhm.
wrap up here. Laura, what do you do when you aren't at fair playing dress up in the woods with your friends?
I am um, very normal. Um, I am a business analyst, and so really, think of me as like an architect for business projects, right? So I don't build anything myself, but I ask a lot of questions. I figure out the needs. And so if you think about from an architect, if I use that architect analogy, if you have someone who wants to build a house, I'm that person that's going to ask, you know, how many stories, how many bedrooms, how many bathrooms, what's the siding, what kind of extras do you want to make sure that everybody is creating and building this house the way it needs to be built and that the homeowner is happy at the end. I do that from a business perspective, usually with software. It's pretty boring.
No, personally, that's one of my favorite questions to ask people
Hmm.
because finding out what everybody does is kind of interesting, and then seeing them like, oh yes, I work in this office all day, and then on the
Hmm.
weekends I run around as a pirate. So it's
Yeah.
just, it's just kind of fun to see those things.
I will say something that I think fair has really helped. Um, you know, um, I come from a pretty structured business background, corporate America, and I think that um, you know, being in fair and coming from uh, middle America, I'm white, I'm female. I didn't have a lot of exposure to a lot of different types of people, different types of lifestyles. And I think that, to be honest with you, fair has really helped me understand and communicate with people that aren't like me, right? Because I am with 120 different people um, from July to October every weekend. And when you improv, you have to be in a safe space. You have to understand and communicate with people if you don't like how that improv is going. And I have used a lot of that knowledge and understanding in my professional world to really see and communicate better with the people that I work with because not everybody's like me, especially now that we are working remote, right? Not everyone's here in Ohio, right? So um, it's really, I think, fair being on cast and being exposed and being immersed and being open to all of that has really benefited me a lot in my personal and professional life. So I mean, I may not you know, run around and speak in my English accent during the week, but I do use a lot of the skills that I've gained over the last 5 years that I probably wouldn't have.
What would you say to someone who is considering auditioning?
Do it. Um, and so in 2015, I came down with breast cancer at the age of 37. And once I got through most of the treatment and the drugs and all that good stuff, in 2021, I was like, okay, it's after COVID. I'm just going to do this. I've always wanted to be a part of it, but I will tell you, it is the best experience. Even if you don't think you have any kind of theater creative bone in your body, um, you can do this. You can find your place here, and it is the most maddening yet accepting place I've ever been, an experience I've ever had. And honestly, I don't expect to do this forever, but I could not imagine not having this experience. So every July, come out, try out, meet the people that do the things, and you won't regret it.
And last question here.
Hmm.
What keeps you coming back year after year?
Oh, that's a good question. Well, I will say the people, but it's the patrons. Like, I selfishly love a captive audience. Like, I try not to be very conceited about things, but it is so fun to know that my whole job at Fair, and it's not even a job, my whole existence at Fair is to basically talk to people. Like, that is like, what do? You need to have people know who you are. And so for me, that feeds sort of my inner like conceitedness where I'm like, haha, I'm Hannah Havoc. I'm the innkeeper. You're gonna know me, right? And it's really great when you get those patrons who start to know who you are. Um, and that's probably really why I do it. I love connecting with people and, having 20,000 people through the gates every day. means there are at least 19,000 people I haven't connected with the day before. So I think that's why I come back. I really enjoy just interacting with people who come to the fair who's like, oh, I'm just going to come to the fair. And then they're like, oh, there are these people who are interacting with me and immersing me in this world. That's why.
No, that's great. That's a great answer. Well, Laura, thank you so much for coming on the show. It was great having you.
Thank you, Lucas.
And to everyone out there listening, thank you so much for listening. And remember, you can catch us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and YouTube. And come out and see us, because when this releases, there's only going to be 2 more weeks of fair. It's going to be this weekend and next weekend,
Yeah,
which
come out
is
and see us at
it's
the Watermelon Pumpkin War this weekend.
that's right. That is this weekend. So that's of course going to be a good time as
Hmm.
always.
Come
And
come out and watch Lucas and I MC on Sunday.
yeah, yeah,
Woohoo!
yeah, 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 yeah. It's going to be a good time. I'm looking forward to that because I honestly I have always been on the pumpkin side
Hmm.
for Watermelon Pumpkin War, but I've never actually participated or attended one of the battles because of or reenactments of said battle uh, because I've just been busy with other things. So it's going to be fun to actually get a chance to be there and see everything. And as always, huzzah!
Huzzah!